I will not be reading the first book, I'll be reading the second one. So read the first book or listen to it before you listen to this. Chapter 1. My best friend shops for wedding dresses. My nightmare started like this. I was standing on a deserted street in a little beach town. It was the middle of the night. A storm was blowing. Wind and rain ripped at the palm trees along the sidewalk. Pink and yellow stucco buildings lined the street. The windows boarded up a block away past a line of hibiscus bushes. The ocean churned. Florida, I thought. I wasn't sure how I knew that. I'd never been to Florida. Then I heard hooves clattering against the pavement. I turned and saw my friend Grover running for his life. Yeah, I said hooves. Grover's hysterious, from the waist up. He looks like a typical gingerly teenager with peachy fuzz goatee and bad case of acne. He walked with a strange limp, but unless you happened to catch him without his pants on, which I don't recommend, you would never know anything unhuman about him. Baggy jeans and fake feet hide the fact he got furry hindquarters and hooves. Grover had been my best friend in the 6th grade. We've gotten this adventure with me and this girl named Annabeth to save the world, but I hadn't seen him since last July, when he set off alone on a dangerous quest, a quest no Starius had ever returned from. Anyway, in my dream, Grover was hauling goat tail, holding his human shoes in his hands, the way he does when he needs to move fast. He clopped past the little terrace shops and surfboard rental places. The wind bent the palm trees over to the ground. Grover was terrified for something behind him. He must have just come from the beach. Wet sand was caked in his fur. He had escaped from somewhere. He was trying to get away from something. A bone-rattling growl cut through the storm. Behind Grover, at the far end of the block. I don't know why I had trouble with that word. A shadowy figure loomed. It swatted aside a street lamp, which busted in showers of sparks. Grover stumbled, whimpering in fear. He muttered to himself, "You have to get away. Have to warn them." I couldn't see what was chasing him, but I could hear it, muttering and cursing. The ground shook as it got closer. Grover dashed around the street corner and flattered. He ran into a dead-end courtyard, full of shops. No time to back up. The nearest store had been blown up the storm. The sign above the darkest display window read, Agnes Bridal Quarter. Grover dashed inside. He dove behind a rack of wedding dresses. The monster's shadow passed in front of the shop. I could smell the things, a sickening combination of wet sheep wool and rotten meat, and the weird, sour body odor only monsters have, like a skunk that's been living off Mexican food. Grover trembled behind the wedding dresses. The monster's shadow passed on. Silence except for rain. Grover took a deep breath. Maybe the thing was gone. The light flashed. Then he entered the store, exploding, and monstrous voice bellowed, "Mine!" I sat up, bolt upright, shivering in my bed. There was no storm, no monster. Morning sunlight flooded through my bedroom and window. Thought it was a shadow flickering across the glass, a human-like shadow. But then there was a knock on my bedroom door. My mom called, "Percy, you're going to be late." And the shadow of the window disappeared. It must have been my imagination. A 5th-story window was a rickety old fire escape. That couldn't have been anyone out there. "Come on, my dear," my mom called again. "Last day of school. You should be excited. You almost made it." "Coming," I managed. I felt under my pillow. My fingers closed reassuringly around the ballpoint pen I always slept with. I brought it out. Studied the ancient Greek writing engraved on the side. Ankylomus. Riptide. I thought about uncapping it, but something held me back. I hadn't used Riptide for so long. Besides, my mom had made me to promise not to use deadly weapons in the apartment after I swung a javelin the wrong way and taken out her china cabinet. I put Ankylomus on my nightstand and dragged myself out of bed. I got dressed as quickly as I could. I tried not to think about my nightmare, or the monster, or the shadow at my window. Have to get away. Have to warn them. What had Grover meant? I had three figured claws over my heart and pushed forward. An ancient gesture Grover had once taught me for warn off evil. The dream couldn't have been real. Last day of school. My mom was right. I should have been excited. For the first time in my life, I'd almost made an entire year without getting expelled. No weird accident, no fight in classroom, no teacher turning into a monster and trying to kill me with poisonous cafeteria food or exploring homework. Tomorrow, I'd be on my way to my favorite place in the world, Camp Half-Blood. Only one day to go. Surely, even I couldn't mess it up. As usual, didn't have a clue what was wrong, how wrong I was. As usual, I didn't have a clue how wrong I was. My mom made blue waffles, blue eggs for breakfast. She was funny that way, celebrating special occasions with blue food. I think it was her way of saying anything is possible. Percy can pass the 7th grade. Waffles can be blue. Little miracles like that. I ate at the kitchen table with my mom and washed dishes. She was dressed in her work uniform, a starry blue skirt, a red and white striped blouse she wore to sell candy at the Sweet on America. Her long brown hair was pulled back in a ponytail. The waffles tasted great, but I guess I wasn't digging in like I usually did. My mom looked over and frowned. "Percy, are you all right?" "Yeah, fine." She could always tell when something was bothering me. She dried her hands and sat across from me. "School or..." She didn't finish. I knew what she was asking. "I think Grover is in trouble," I said, and I told her about my dream. She pursed her lips. I didn't think much about the other part of my life. We didn't think much about the other part of my life. We tried to live as normal as possible. But my mom knew all about Grover. "I wouldn't be too worried, dear," she said. "Grover is a big serious now. If there was a problem, I'm sure we would have heard from camp." Her shoulders tensed as she said the word camp. "What is it?" I asked. "Nothing," she said. "I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you what. This afternoon we'll celebrate the end of school. I'll take you and Tyson Rockefeller Center, to the skateboard shop you like." Oh man, was that tempting. We were always struggling with money. Between my mom's night classes and my private school tutoring sessions, we could never afford to be never stuff special like that. Like shop for a skateboard, but something in her voice bothered me. "Wait a minute," I said. "I thought we were packing up for camp tonight." She twisted her dish rag. "Oh dear, about that. I got a message from Crayon last night." My heart sank. Crayon was the activities director at Camp Half-Blood. He wouldn't contact unless something serious was going on. "What did he say?" "He thinks it might not be safe for you to come to camp just yet. We might have to postpone." "Postpone? Mom, how could it not be safe? I'm a half-blood. It's like the only safe place on Earth for me." "Usually, dear, but the problem they're having..." "What problem? What problems?" "Percy, I'm very, very sorry. I was hoping to talk to you about this afternoon. I can't explain it all now. I'm not even sure Sharon can. Everything happened so suddenly." My mind was reeling. How could I not go to camp? I wanted to ask a million questions, but just then the kitchen clock chimed the half hour. My mom looked almost revealed. 7:30, dear. You should get going. Tyson will be waiting. But, Percy, will you please talk this afternoon? Go on to school." That was the last thing I wanted to do. But my mom, this fragile look in her eyes, a kind of warning, like if I pushed her too hard, she'll start crying. Besides, she was right about my friend Tyson. I had to meet up at his subway station, or in time, or he'll get upset. I was scared of traveling underground alone. He was scared of traveling underground alone. I gathered up my stuff, but I was stopped in the doorway. "Mom, this problem at camp, could it have anything to do with my dream about Grover?" She couldn't meet my eyes. "Well, talk this afternoon, dear. I'll explain as much as I can." Recreated. I told her goodbye. I jogged downstairs, catch the number 2 train. I didn't know at the time, but my mom and I would never go to have our afternoon talk. In fact, I wouldn't be seeing home for a long, long time. As I stepped outside, I glanced the brownstone buildings across the street. Just for a second, I saw a dark shape in the morning sunlight, a human still house against the brick wall, a shadow that belonged to no one, then rippled and vanished. Okay, that's the end of this one, guys. See ya.